Okay, for this volume review, this is just doing word problems and looking at using base and layers. And just again, common mistakes, fact errors, forgetting the label, cubic units, or not figuring all the layers. So let's try this one. So Mrs. Z is packing a box of books to send to another library. She puts 5 books in the bottom of the box. She then adds 3 more layers of books on top. How many books did Mrs. Z put in the box? So the best thing for us to do is to actually visualize what's going on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of draw a box. And I'm going to reread the problem. So Mrs. Z is packing a box of books to send to another library. That's just information. I don't need to know that to solve my problem. She puts 5 books in the bottom of the box. I'm going to go ahead and underline this because this is going to be super important. So I can either draw 5 books or I can just put a 5 here to the side to know that she puts 5 books in here. And I'm going to go ahead and draw them. So there's my 5 books in the box. She then adds 3 more layers on top of the books. So when that means 3 more layers, that doesn't mean 3 total layers. That means 3 more layers. So she's got a bottom layer. Now we're going to lay another layer of books. That's 1 layer, 2 layers, and 3 layers. So if she lays 3 more layers on top, she's got another layer of 5, another layer of 5, and another layer of 5. The common mistake with this type of problem is when students think that I just easily take 5 times 3 and that gives me 15. Well, that tells me that you figured how many books are in 3 layers, but there's not 3 layers. There's a bottom layer and then there's 3 layers on top. And if I count all the books, or if I add up each layer, I can see that I would have 5, 10, 15, 20 books. Okay, so make sure when you see they add 3 more layers, that means I'm adding that on top of the next box. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try this one. So it says Isabel is packing Rice Krispie treats to share. She puts 4 Rice Krispie treats in the bottom layer of a box. She then adds 5 more layers of treats on top. How many Rice Krispie treats did Isabel put in the box? So Isabel, I hope you like this problem because you're always so sweet and you share your Rice Krispie treats with me. So go ahead and see if you can figure out that problem. When you're finished, go ahead and just stop this video, but I'm going to continue to the next side and you can stop it and work on this one and then you can restart the video as well. Or you can watch the back side and then come back to this problem too. It's up to you. Okay? All right, so if you turn the page over, this is the toughest one. So this is knowing how to find volume of what's called irregular figures. So these are going to be your T blocks or your L blocks. Common mistake is not including all the edges or even understanding properties of shape, meaning if one side is this measurement, the other side has to be this measurement as well. So when we find the volume of figures below, we want to make sure we're also including the correct labels, okay? One of the things that I think is kind of makes it easier is when you have an irregular figure, I'm going to label this figure A and this figure B. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the volume for figure A and then I'm going to figure the volume for figure B. So the first thing I know to find volume is length times width times height. So I'm going to go ahead and figure layer A's here, and I saved the really hard ones for us to practice together. So I'm going to go ahead and figure 6 times 7 times 2. Or I can do 2 times 6 times 7. It's whatever's easiest. I'm going to do 2 times 6 because that gives me 12, and then 12 times 7 is a basic fact. So I know I'm doing 6 times 2 times 7. And this is going to give me A. This is going to equal A. So A is going to equal 6 times 2 times 7. So these two are going to be 12 times 7. and I know 12 times 7 is 84. So I know that box A is going to be 84. So A equals, 84. Okay? Then I'm going to go over here to B, and B is 6 by 6 by 4. So I'm going to go ahead for B. I'm going to do it down here. B equals 6 times 6 times 4. So I'm going to go ahead and figure that out. So those two together is 36. And then I have to do 36 times 4. Well, I'm going to do that over here. And 6 times 4 is 24. And 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So I get 144 for B. So B equals this problem, which equals this answer of 144. So B equals 144. So if I want to find this whole irregular shape, I'm going to add the volume of A plus the volume of B. So I'm going to go ahead and add these together. And I'm going to put a little placeholder here. So 0 plus 4 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 8 plus 1 is 9. So this whole irregular figure is going to be 984. And my unit is centimeters. And we're dealing with volume, so I'm going to put the cube. Okay? All right, this one's a little tougher because you have your T block. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to label this one A, this one B. Once I figure out the volume of A, then find the volume of B, I'm going to add them together. So for A, I'm going to do 7 times 2 times 2. Well, I'm going to do 2 times 2 is 4. That's easy for me. So 7 times 4 is going to be 28. So I know that the volume for A equals 28. And then I'm going to look at B, and to find B, I'm going to do 2 times 2 times 5. So I'm going to do 2 times 2 is 4 times 5 equals 20. So I know that B, this, is going to equal 20. Then I add them together, and I get 48 as my volume. And I'm going to look at my units, and since they tell me my units are centimeters, I'm going to write centimeters cubed. Okay? Now, for you, you have two problems that you're going to try. And this is an L block, and this is an L block. This L block is very similar, and the A and the B are already here for you. This one's a little tougher because this whole side here is 6. And if this whole side here is 6, and I want to figure this out, I'm going to have to draw a line here, or I'm going to have to draw a line down here to see if I can figure this out. Now, when I said one of the common mistakes up here was not understanding properties of shapes, that means I need to understand that if this side is 3 centimeters, this side is 3 centimeters. If this is 4 centimeters, this is 4 centimeters. If this is 4 centimeters, this is 4 centimeters. This is 4 centimeters, because I know anytime I have a rectangular face, the opposite sides are the same. So if this whole side is 6, that means this line all together would also be 6. But if it's partial, then if this is 3, this is 3, this is going to have to be something else as well. See if you can figure it out with your volume, with your units, your correct units, and then we'll check it later.